What if I told you your network is secretly running a democratic election right now? Meet STP, the protocol that elects a root bridge to prevent network loops. In this video, I'll reveal how switches campaign for leadership, why the lowest MAC address wins, and how to rig the election ethically to optimize your network. Watch now to master this CCNA must-know topic.
The spanning tree avoids network loops by placing certain ports in a state blocking, so that there is only one path from one point to another. This makes it possible to set up redundancy, because if a problem occurs on one of the segments of the network, then the STP protocol will reactivate the blocked port, so that the packets can pass by a new path. Spanning tree uses BPDU for communication between switches. BPDU are frames that are exchanged regularly, about every 2 seconds, and allow switches to keep track of changes on the network in order to activate or deactivate equipment ports. The spanning tree algorithm works in several steps. First, it will proceed to the root switch election. A topology without a loop looks like a tree, and at the base of each tree, we find its roots. Well, in a switched network, the root bridge, which means root switch, is the chosen one. Each switch has an MAC address and a priority number that can be configured. These two numbers form the bridge identifier, better known as BID. The switch with the lowest priority becomes the root bridge, and if there is a tie, the lower MAC address wins. As a general rule, the network administrator ensures that the root switch is as close as possible to the network core by modifying the value of the bridge ID. After having elected the root switch, the spanning tree will determine the root ports. This election is about the shortest distance to the root switch. For that, it is based on the cost of each link crossed, and the cost value depends on the link bandwidth, as shown in the table. The root port, which is also known as the root port or simply with the initials RP, will be the one that leads most directly to the root switch. There can only be one root port per switch. In case of equality, that is to say that two switches have the same cost toward the bridge ID, then the port with the lowest port ID will be elected. After determining the root ports, the spanning tree will select designated ports. For each network segment that connects switches, a designated port that can also be written with the initials DP is selected by the spanning tree. This is the port connected to the segment, which leads most directly to the root. This is also why a switch-elected root bridge will systematically have designated ports. Then, in case of equality of the segment, well, the selection will also be made on the priority and the lowest MAC address. And the last stage of the spanning tree consists of blocking the other ports so as not to create loops. Ports that are neither root nor designated are blocked. A blocked port can receive BPDU packets, but cannot send any. If the topology changes, for example a switch goes down, well, the spanning tree algorithm is restarted, and a new tree is put in place. We know that the algorithm spanning tree operates in several phases. First, it will elect the root switch. Then it will determine the root ports of each switch. Then it will select the designated ports on each segment. And finally, it will block the other ports to avoid loops. This whole process is done using BPDU messages that the switches exchange. The BPDUs will make it possible to discover the topology and to elect the root bridge. It's sort of the head of the spanning tree topology. Once elected, the switches will search for the best path to it, and alternate routes will be disabled. We will see in detail the different processes of the spanning tree algorithm on this new topology as an example. The first step is therefore the election of a root switch by designating the lowest bridge ID. The bridge ID is the composition of the switch priority and its MAC address. So initially, all switches think that they are the root bridge. They all claim to be the root of the tree. It is thanks to the BPDU exchanges that they manage to elect the root bridge. This election is made by the lowest priority, and in the event of a tie, the one with the lowest MAC address wins. On the topology, switch B becomes the root bridge because it has the lowest bridge ID. As switches A and B have the same priority, it will be the switch that is at the lowest MAC address that wins. This is switch B, because the hexadecimal starts from 0 to 9 and from A to F. The second step is to elect the root ports. When a switch recognizes that it is not the root, it marks the port on which it receives these BPDUs as its root port, and if there are several paths, then it will choose the one that is the least expensive, that is to say, the fastest. By default, the cost associated with each port is linked to its speed. The higher the bandwidth of the interface, the lower the cost. For example, a link of 1 gigabit is equal to a cost of 4. And if despite everything, several paths have the same cost, then the switch will choose the lowest bridge ID for the election of the root switch. In general, that are connected directly to the root bridge will be designer root port. The third step is to elect a designated port for each segment. After choosing the root bridge and the root port, the switches determine which port will be designated for each Ethernet link. The process is similar to the election of the root bridge and the root port. That is to say that each switch sends BPDUs to designate a port on each link between the switches. In the example, all the ports of switch B are designated, because it is the root. For the link between switch A and D, like switch A, at the lowest priority, the designated port will be on its side, and it's the same between switch A and C. There can only be one designated port on a single link. If the priority had been the same, then the comparison would have taken place on the lowest MAC address, as for the election of the root bridge. And finally, the last step is to put the remaining ports in a blocked state. To avoid network loops, the spanning tree protocol will block ports which are neither root port or designated ports. Spanning tree is a network protocol that provides a loop-free topology. There are several varieties. The most basic form of spanning tree is STP, which simply allows for loop-free redundancy. We have RSTP, which is the evolution of STP because it offers faster convergence. The PVST and the PVST Plus make it possible to set up a different spanning tree per VLAN. That is, there is a root bridge per VLAN. The advantage here is that the load is more evenly distributed, because all links will be used, but not by the same VLANs. There is rapid PVST Plus, which is simply a spanning tree enhancement by VLAN, and the multiple STP is an extension of the rapid spanning tree. By default, on Cisco switches, It is PVST+, which is activated on all ports. So even if it has a much slower convergence than the rapid PVST+, it requires less CPU and memory resources to calculate the shortest path. It allows one instance of spanning tree per VLAN. This allows for more optimal load sharing. A root bridge will then be elected for each VLAN, and different ports by VLAN will be blocked. In this way, the network is even more redundant than in a traditional spanning tree.